Hey everybody, on this episode of Box Office Breakdown, it was a slow week at the box office. That doesn't mean that there was cool stuff to talk about, though. We're going to go in deep on Serenity. That film is bonkers!
Welcome to Popcorn Talk, featuring movie discussion, news, and interviews. Popcorn Talk, we talk movies. And now, here's Popcorn Talk's Box Office Breakdown.
Hey everybody, welcome to Box Office Breakdown. This, of course, is the show where we look back at the box office that was, and then we...
wait, I don't have my other person. So, Juliet, you want to help me out?
This will go well.
Yeah, let me know.
Okay,
What's
so
going on?
we're gonna sing the word prognosticate, but we're gonna do it in bits. I'm sorry, I didn't prep you on this. I didn't think about it till just now. So ready? Okay.
I think so. I'm not sure if I'm ready or not. I'm not gonna lie.
Okay. Prognosticate.
Beautiful! About the box office that lie ahead. I'm Frank Moran.
And what's up, Kari Lane here.
And of course, chiming in, sounding so delightful and making us look even better is Juliet on the booth.
Thank you so much, guys. I'm very excited to be part of the show tonight. Lots to look forward to, and I'm glad to be part of the team.
Well, you won't feel that way at the end of the show. So enjoy this high while you can.
Okay.
And Amy's in the thick of movies being at the SAG Awards.
That is right. Yes, follow her on social media. I'm sure she's going to be posting all her little Insta stories and whatnot.
Yeah.
But all the shenanigans.
Or not,
she's
maybe
getting up
after, because she's probably working.
I don't know. I think she'll take time out.
She'll find
she
it.
Cares.
She
cares about her social media
Yes.
fans. She's going to keep everybody in the loop.
Yay.
Yes, but we're going to dive into this week's top 5. But before we do that, folks, like us on Facebook. Give us 5 stars on iTunes. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. Give it a thumbs up. 2, 3, or 4. However many you can fit in. And, of course, the chat is up and running.
Yes.
So feel free to chime in about anything that we're talking about or movies in general. But, Kari, if they're joining us after the show stream live, what can they do?
Yes, you all can comment down below, which you do, and we love it because we read all of them.
Absolutely.
We do.
So, as I mentioned at the top of the show, a very quiet week at the box office there. The films that did come out didn't exactly set the ground to fire.
Yeah, I was noticing there's a couple movies that didn't even make the top 5, and we're like, oh yeah, maybe. It's like, nope.
That's right. But coming in number 1 was a repeat again of last week's top 1, Glass. The M. Night Shyamalan film from Universal made another $19 million.
Not bad.
Yeah.
I still want to see it. I haven't. I know.
Yeah, all right.
It's my last weekend of moving. Like, we have to be out by tomorrow. So this is the end. And finally, I can try to get back into watching more movies.
I will be curious what you think. As I talk to other people about it, because the ending kind of, I felt frustrating. It's like I could understand what he wanted to do, but that didn't necessarily mean that I enjoyed it.
But do you like it now after it's settled a little bit?
No. Not,
Okay.
I mean, it's just,
Yeah.
I wish I could sit here and go like, yeah, because I know so many people in the chat will often say, does he even like anything?
He does. Not much. But
Not much. Coming to number 2, again, The Upside. Kevin Hart, Bryan Cranston, another $12.2 million.
Well, because there are those movies that maybe at first you're not as jazzed about them, but as time passes, you kind of go, the more you think about it. I had that kind of with Assassination Nation. I liked it when I saw it, but the more I talked about it to people, I was like, I really like that movie.
That's true.
So,
I think of a film I felt that way about.
There was a cheesy Bollywood one I saw once called Sing is King, and watching it was really dumb, but saying the jokes and moments later, it was a lot funnier.
All right. That's true. Yeah, you can... Yeah. I'm going to see if I can think of one that pops to mind. I'm sure I felt that feeling before, where I'm like, this is terrible. Oh, wait, this actually wasn't so bad. You think it probably more often than not happens once you watch it at home, where you take it away from the big theater experience. You watch it, I'm like, oh, yeah, it's just fine to watch at home if I'm goofing around.
Or they're less funny because the joke, you already know it.
Yeah.
I remember seeing like Harold and Kumar the first time, thinking it was hilarious, and watching it again, it was not as funny. But I think it's because you already knew what the jokes were.
Yeah, I guess that's true. I guess like with the comedy, it's... Yeah,
unless you love the jokes.
Yeah.
Maybe.
I mean, I guess because when you're watching it at home, you've taken away the expectations you've had for it. You're just watching it again. Like, all right, yeah, I've already been disappointed, so I can now just enjoy this for what it is. Yeah.
Julia, any movies you've seen that you liked better later or was worse? Or
Ooh, that's a good question. I think I feel that way about TV.
More
importantly, I feel like you watch something when you were younger and you're like, oh, that was great. And then you watch it again and you're like, wow, how could I ever watch this? Spend so much time watching it.
No, that's true.
Yeah.
Especially with animation, too, where you think when you're a kid, like, this is incredible. And then as an adult, you're like, whew, this is some rough animation.
Yeah.
Coming in number 3, second way to the back with our this weekend's top 5, Aquaman.
Did you say sinking?
Sinking our way back in. There you go.
Made a water pun.
That's
Yay.
right. There you go. For Warner Brothers, thank you. Another $7.3 million.
And again, we did like it. We nitpicked at it, but we did like it.
That's right.
Those comments were on fire.
Coming in number 4 was one of the two new films that we were looking at here at the box office this past weekend, was The Kid Who Would Be King from Fox. $7.25 million. Came in lower than people were hoping for.
But that's not bad if it's also, it's, I would say, like indie British film per our market. Like, Attack the Block, same idea. There are the people that are like, even though it's still in English, it's almost considered a foreign film, though.
Yeah.
So it's like, well, those accents. I've heard people be, oh yeah, the accents or something like that. You're like, really? I think it looks cute. I still haven't. I do want to see it. This is just one I didn't have time.
No, neither me. I mean, that's a grammatically correct sentence. But that film was also the subject of our box office bet. So. We had Brianna in the mix as well, but don't worry, even though she's not here today, she's safe, so it's okay. Again, the film made $7.25 million. I won. Look at me. Whee! I won with an $11 million bet. We had Carrie at 12, Brianna at 12.5, and our girl Amy, she's probably going to leave the SAG Awards right and drive right over to the movie theater. She went high. She went $15 million. Look at her go.
I was safe in the middle.
That's right. Yay! That's right.
I still want to see that one. So.
I had the courage to go low.
Okay.
Sure. All right. So folks, that was the results of this week's box office bet. At the end of the show, we'll be doing another one. Again, we're not really going to do a bet. Usually we reach out to the chat to have them vote on the film they want us to do. There's only one movie in contention this week, and we'll get to that in a little bit there. So it'll be very easy for the box office bet this week, though. Back to the top 5, though. Coming in at number 5, rounding it out, is Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, $6.1 million.
Woo!
The other film that came out this past week that is bonkers. If you have not seen it, you should go out to the theater and see it.
Did you go watch it?
This is Serenity, the film that stars Matthew McConaughey, Anne Hathaway.
Did you go because you lost the bet? I was like, we bet on that one, right?
No, we haven't even bet on this one.
Oh.
I just went because this film it was one of our two that we
talked about.
Yes, it could be The Kid Who Would Be King or Serenity.
Yes.
Folks, usually you're spot on about like, hey, yeah, I want to make them go see a garbage movie and have to sit through that. Usually your instincts are right, but you folks, you messed up this time because Serenity, holy cow, that movie is bonkers. It has, bar none, the twist. I don't think any twist that you'd see in any film in 2019 will top the twist that you saw in this one.
But does that mean it's good?
It is by no means a good movie, but the twist, it is just, I would love to have been in the room when Matthew McConaughey or Anne Hathaway, they're reading the script and they're meeting with the director and he's kind of pitching him on his vision, because it's so crazy.
Is it one of those that's just totally out of left field that you don't see it coming?
Yeah.
So it's a good, there we go. That's our comment for the week. What makes a good, don't spoil it, but good twist of a movie? Is it one like you cannot see coming at all, or you kind of like to see it and then you're satisfied with where it went? Comment that down below. But don't spoil any, because there's some movies, though, when you say there's a twist, that almost ruins the movie.
Yeah.
Because then you're expecting something to flip.
Yeah, I guess there's a revelation in this movie that is just, you're like, it puts the film in an entirely different context, and you're like, holy cow. This is all right. This is what we're doing. All right.
With that review.
Yes. I wish I mean, since this opening weekend, I know not many people went and saw it. I mean, clearly it only made $4.8 million in the box office.
Yeah.
So many of you did not see it. I will give you a chance to talk about it. Go see it yourselves before. I say next week. Next week we can talk a little bit more about why I thought it was so crazy. Okay. There you go. Just I hope you like fishing. That's all I'll say.
In the chat, where did it go? Sky Patterson pointed out, congrats to Marvelous Mrs. Maisel on winning Best Ensemble in a Comedy TV Series. So there's awards going on right now. Which, that's what I've been watching this week. I finished all of season 1. I'd already watched a couple episodes, and I'm like halfway through season 2. it's a really good show, and I'm getting, the more you go in it, it's great and semi-connected to movies. Zachary Levi. Is it Levy?
Zachary Levi?
Levi?
That's right.
Okay. He's in it in season 2 a little bit, and I did not know. So I was like, oh, hey. So he's going to, and then I'm excited for him in Shazam.
And then he says Shazam when he flies off, right?
Totally.
That's what I thought. That's right. It's a little subtle promotion for the film.
Yeah.
Yep. There you go.
It's a prequel. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep.
The cinematography for that show is incredible. There's a sequence where they're working on switchboard banks, and just to see the behind the scenes of how they made that scene come to life is
how
impressive.
they're doing yeah. Well, I'm like, what is the name of that? It's the place she works for a bit, and I'm like, oh my gosh, what is the name of it? I forget. But yeah, she's stuck as an operator for a little bit because things don't go well for something.
There you go.
That would have been so obnoxious of just constant, like, it's the fastest kind of job. I'm like, no thanks. No, thank you.
I did see one other film, and I wanted to take a quick sidebar for 1 second, because Carrie talked about it a lot last week. I had not seen it, but I figured, why not go check out this Dragon Ball Super Broly? First time I've ever seen anything Dragon Ball in my entire life. I just said, all right, I will go take the plunge into this film and see what's up.
Were you super lost knowing nothing?
I guess, just from reading a lot of comic books and anime and things like that. I guess you've just picked up on bits and pieces. I knew it was just like, lots of fighting. Mm-hmm. I did not realize, but I also feel like it has a lot of similar anime tropes where it's, hey, it's we're fighting, but we always have to learn how to be a better fighter. And there's always another challenger that is stronger than the one that we've defeated before. And how can we ever defeat this one? I've got to become an even better fighter. And now this time, I didn't realize they went through so many permeations of hair change colors.
Yeah.
I was excited. I knew they went and did
That's
the yellows.
That's how they level up,
But
and
I didn't know they did the red
like
and blue and the green.
Fuchsia-ish thing. Yeah.
They just kept on. I was like, all right, they've got it. Nope, they're going even another color. So it was interesting. I guess this Broly is not his first time in continuity with this. So. Were you excited? You haven't seen it yet, so
yeah, not really.
All right.
I knew all about it, and my friends who've seen it loved it. I'm familiar with the Dragon Ball series. I watched Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z as a kid, and then I kind of fell off. But I'm familiar with like the foundation of it all.
Yeah, it's I don't know if this. I'm intrigued to probably read up more about it. I don't know if I'm really going like. Yeah, I'll go and sit down and sink into a bunch of it, because I feel like the fight sequences very cool. Yeah. But then it was just some of the character beats where it's like, mileage may vary on all that.
Do you know if your audience reacted to it differently than you because maybe some of them were familiar with it?
Not really.
Okay.
It felt like the audience was just. I think the audience appreciated it, but nobody was like. I didn't hear a lot of laughter, like, oh, that's clearly like an inside joke, or like, oh, that's a callback to a really cool moment that I have no context for. So nothing of that really happened.
I don't know about if like a full screening in a regular theater, but I know when I've seen anime movies at anime events, the fans are very vocal, like when a character pops up. Because I saw, it was part of the Full Metal Alchemist series, and it was like Conqueror of Shambhala. And I went and saw it at Anime Expo, having never seen the series. And that was a mistake because people were so excited when characters popped up, because some of them had, died in one of the other versions. And so they're like, oh, yay, it's so-and-so. And I'm sitting there going, why are we excited? So that is one of those where, like, it's interesting to gauge, like, the excitement levels.
Yeah, it's...
But so you did like it even though you knew, like, nothing about it.
Yeah, it was fine to watch.
Cool.
You just see all the characters kind of set in motion, and then they come together for the big battle at the end.
Cool.
That takes like the last third of the movie. It's just all fighting.
That sounds like Dragon Ball.
Yeah, which I remember I looked at one review and they just said like, the fighting is always great, but it almost feels like at some point you're like, I needed a break from the fighting for a moment.
They have lots of filler episodes that are just like long battle things and stuff. You're just like, okay.
Yeah, I'm down for a good battle, but even I was like, it's still going. All right, all right.
You're like, oh, yeah, still good. Yep.
But don't worry, we're still going to keep fighting again.
Yusef in the chat, I watched Dragon Ball Z. Some of GT fell off seasons are longer and drag on. Hard to keep up with that series when you're older. Yeah, there's gobs of that show. Like, that franchise is so massive. But that's great that it's become a movie, and it was number 3 when it first came out. So on their opening weekend. So yay!
And it's always great to see something written and then hear it pronounced in the film. So it was like, I thought it was Vegeta, and it's like Vegeta.
Oh yeah, no,
no, it's Vegeta, guys. It's like Vegeta.
Well, then that gets in the discussion of sub versus dub, of like subtitles and dubbing, because I realized that I said that on another show and it could sound like something else. But yeah, because then it's pronounced like over on AfterBuzz Anime Reviews. We're watching Soul Eater, but I watch it with subtitles, and most of my co-hosts are watching it with English, and then we have moments of like, what did they say on your version of it, and how did they pronounce it? So even amongst that, there's levels of like, how did they say it?
Yeah. But animation was fine. So yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, there you go. All right, so speaking of international films, we're talking about Dragon Ball, Super Broly. But let's dive into other stuff here. Aquaman, it has now grossed a little over $1 billion worldwide to become the biggest DC title ever, surpassing The Dark Knight Rises. It has got 774.2 overseas so far, and Japan is still waiting to welcome its arms with open arms. They wait for Jason Momoa to come, the king of the seven seas. Now it's running down. It's winding down its run in China. The total there, though, is $290.6 million. But taking its place is another superhero, Deadpool 2, in the Once Upon a Land PG-13 version of that. Once Upon a Deadpool.
I don't know. How do you feel about that?
I think it's good for a one-off. Just sure, okay. I mean, but I don't think I'd ever want to see Deadpool presented
Just
in
be
that.
a regular thing.
No. I
yeah,
mean,
that's the whole point. Is he's supposed to be an R kind of character?
Yeah.
Swearing, sex stuff, violence, everything is supposed to be the extreme. So the thought of let's tone it down seems very contrary to what that character is. But
it's also, I mean, I guess the challenge is that he is a Marvel comic book character where a lot of his adventures are anybody, of teenagers and younger kids, anywhere from like 10 to 13 can go read it. So they can't see an R-rated film and they'd love the character. So I could see the reason for them doing this.
Or if you're reading it, you're going to see it anyway. Same difference. You know what'd be funny, though, is if they put him into PG-13 and then, bleep out the things he says. So he still says it, but they bleep it. So, and then he comments, really? What's happening here? That could be really funny. That'd be a fun way to include it and acknowledge it.
That's true. Because they're still, now that Fox is being acquired by Disney, they're still up in the air about exactly how the X-Men properties will be handled underneath the Disney regime. So I feel like Deadpool has proven to be so successful in its 2 films in the version that it's in.
Yeah.
I would feel like that if Disney wanted to continue to do it, and this by far seems to be the most popular one of all and well-received of all the X-Men films, that I think you would want to leave it alone.
Exactly.
So
we'll see.
We'll see what happens. But I do know what the Doctor Doom film that they're going to be doing, that has been put on the wayside, as well as, sorry guys, Gambit. That looks like it's just never going to make it to the big screen.
It's just because they can't do it right, so then they're not going to do it.
But it's also like Gambit is not a character that I would want to see as a star of a film. Fine if you wanted to have him be in the team of X-Men, but as a sole focus, it's just Gambit's fine, but maybe if you, and unfortunately, if you rebooted the whole X-Men universe and recast, so you could start Rogue from the beginning.
Completely do it over?
Yeah, so that way you could have Gambit and Rogue. They might be more interesting together.
Yeah.
But I feel like, certainly the Rogue that's been established with Anna Paquin.
Wouldn't fit, yeah.
No, it just wouldn't, it wouldn't gel well. So maybe if they rebooted it, it could be interesting. But right now, I would, no. And Channing Tatum, I like Channing Tatum, but I just don't know if I would like him as Gambit.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
he's muscular, but he's supposed to be very long and lean. He's a little bit more Brad Pitt in Snatch.
Yeah, he's he's part of the Assassin's Guild, man. He's got to be
Not that Channing Tatum doesn't he's very fit, but it just feels like he's a little more. I don't know.
I know what you're saying.
Yeah.
Yeah. I understand. Carrie and I were on the same
page.
Yes. So basically, it opened Once Upon a Deadpool opened up in China. It landed at number 1 with $21.4 million. It pushes Deadpool 2 to $767 million globally, higher than the X-Men Days of Future Past, to make Deadpool films the number 1 and number 2 biggest grossers in the X-Men series worldwide. So look at that.
Lots of money.
And looking at Glass, its sophomore session was $23.6 million overseas in 55 markets. That's a 52% drop from the front-loaded opening last weekend, giving the level of the dip. Though it's estimated that Glass, which Disney is also handling overseas, is now running a bit behind the previous entry in the trilogy Split. So.
Sorry, I'm just giggling. Someone hashtag don't body shame Tatum. I am totally not. He's just not the right body type for the character I read in the comics and the cartoons. He has an amazing body. It's just not the gambit for the comic books.
Heck yes.
I'll go watch me some Magic Mike and everything, and the dance movies he's done too. So,
Step
just
up.
saying. Yes, thank you.
There
I was
you
like, I was too distracted by it. I wonder though if Glass will do better once it's on video, so that you can watch all three together. I wonder if that might get it some legs later.
Yeah, I just don't know.
Because
if that'd
some
be
people
a movie.
like waiting for it.
Yeah, I just don't know if that'd be a fun evening for me. If I'd want to run that trilogy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah. You definitely have to be in a certain mood to be able to run those three back to back to back.
You know.
Yeah. And then rounding out our international news there, Bohemian Rhapsody, 5-time Oscar nominee, Bohemian Rhapsody, now has $816.2 million globally, with the global box office, with 611.3 coming from overseas.
That has some interesting controversy lately.
Oh, with the Bryan Singer stuff?
And then awards being pulled back and stuff. And it's one of those, it's a much more complicated subject than our show. But it's just unfortunate that a whole movie has to suffer because of somebody's actions.
Yeah.
Not talking about their actions, just saying, like, you know, like if one person in a group effed it up for everybody else, and that just kind of sucks for the movie.
Yeah. I guess me personally, I'd be more riled up if I enjoy the movie more. I mean, it's fine. It's fine. But I wasn't like, oh, yes. And we've talked about our feelings about that film. So,
yeah.
Now, of course, we have one film, as I mentioned, that's going to be the subject of this week's box office bet. That is going to be Miss Bala with Gina Rodriguez. That is going to be, it's basically, it seems, at least from that, which I've only seen one little commercial for.
I was wondering,
kind of, a woman who's, coming back to kick butt and take names.
Wait, I feel I have seen something for this. Like, I have this image of a scene where she's having a discussion with somebody, and like she has a red dress, and they're.
I think you're right. I think you're right.
Yes, I did see a bit of that. Yep, there's the red dress.
There you go.
Yep, I remember that from the trailer because she's having a discussion with somebody of this life or something like that, and. But yeah, otherwise, nope, haven't heard of it. But now I actually have cable now at the new place, so I've seen some commercials, which, going off into semi-mini tangent, with the new trailer for Alita, how they advertise it on TV is completely different than how they advertise it at the movie theater. Like, the TV one is action, dark, and rah, and the bad guy's coming to get you. And the other one's a little bit more like, ooh, discovery of who you are and falls in love. And then also there's action and all this other stuff. It's like, what? I mean, yes, it's still a lot of the same things, but it's a very, different choice to advertise it. And, yeah. But I am excited about it because I read the graphic novel and I love the cartoon of that one. But I'm like, it's Battle Angel Alita, not Alita Battle Angel, but whatever.
Yeah, I've not seen either of those, so I will be curious to see what this film is like.
I'm curious too. It's been a while, so I think it's kind of good that I haven't watched it a little while, because then it'll be more just like the essence of it, of how much I remember. Because I think part of me would be like, yeah, let's totally rewatch and reread everything right before, but then I think I'll just compare it and be upset. A friend of mine, though, she's really excited. That's a series she loves, but she's ready for it. Though it's funny, casting-wise, Christoph Waltz kind of looks a lot like the character he's playing. Though the character has a much inhumanly possible longer face, but it kind of looks like him. So that's just kind of a weird, like, oh, you actually kind of look like the character. So they did a good job of finding somebody who actually kind of looks like that.
Well, I know James Cameron had been working, trying to get this to the big screen for the longest time, and then went from wanting to direct it to now he's just producing it for Robert Rodriguez to do that. Knowing that, would you rather have seen James Cameron, if you had your choice, to do a different career path, and instead of focusing so much more on Avatar films, he just said, like, you know what, I'm going to work on Battle Angel and get that to the screen first.
Oh, he took so long to do it. No, I don't really care. Be like, well, you can stay with Avatar. I just was like, damn, this is taking you so long to make this movie, because I felt like I had heard about it like 10 years ago. Why is this movie taking so long? The weird discussion that also would take up a lot of time, so maybe leave your comments. It's interesting that people aren't clamoring so much about this movie, of technically it's a Japanese property, but the characters of who's playing who, compared to Ghost in the Shell, though technically Ghost in the Shell is kind of set in like future Japan. Alita is like this nondescript future world. So is that better, because then you're not necessarily associating them as Japanese people? Because Christoph Waltz is a white character in the cartoon. Like, there's no doubt about that. Alita is actually played by a Latina actress in the movie, which is kind of cool, because the character is, she's an android. She's not, well, it's an interesting mix of stuff. But, it's not necessarily a regular human. Then Ghost in the Shell is like, well, it's technically a shell. So it's a fun discussion. I was thinking about that, like, everybody was so upset on that, and then nobody said much on this one, and I wonder if it's, because it's not necessarily set in a realistic place we know and associate with.
Well, I mean, true. I could understand that. I guess I was looking for, if you wanted to see a film for a property that you really enjoyed, and it certainly has been a while since you've seen it or read it, but to see this finally brought to the big screen, would you rather see it come to the screen directed by James Cameron or Robert Rodriguez? He is a great alternative.
I think Cameron has a good job with the epicness, and Rodriguez does a good job with the grittiness. And for this property, the grittiness feels better.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I mean, I guess...
I was like, I know you don't know the property, but what are your thoughts then, now with what you've seen a little bit of it? I
mean, I've seen a little bit of it. I mean, and certainly the footage that I've seen looks intriguing, so I'm like, all right.
Yeah.
It's I'm willing. I'm definitely going to go see it, but I don't know. I mean, I just love the way James Cameron directs a film.
Oh, okay.
And it's been. I mean, I know that Avatar's his baby and he's doing it, but it's like, I don't know if I was so much more like of an Avatar fan that I was like, yeah, do it, James. I cannot wait for more Avatar films.
Don't want him shackled to it.
Yeah, essentially. It's like, oh man, I'd love for you to do something that's just not Avatar related. Just come back and just do this one for us. But
good question.
Yeah. But he's not. It's gonna be Robert Rodriguez, and I'm sure the movie. I was gonna say, well,
the last Rodriguez one I really like too is like Planet Terror, and
from the
Grindhouse. Yeah, like I'm like, yes.
Or you see Rose McGowan with her gun leg.
Yes,
that's
come
right.
on.
She was gun legging it up.
So yeah. Anyway.
So yeah, but to Miss Bala specifically though, for the film that we're talking about for our box office bet. Other than like, I mean, I walked by in the movie theater at AMC that I will see the poster. I don't really spend too much time on it. It's just like a real close-up shot of Gina Rodriguez's face.
When I just looked at the picture, that was one of the ones too.
But again, it's one of those films. I mean, it just feels like the studio just knows that they have a loser, because I haven't seen a lot of promotion for it. There's nothing else. It's like this dog day of like end of January, beginning of February.
Yeah, I love it when a movie comes out and we're like, which one? That's a reminder. Something like, you're not advertising anywhere. So, but yeah.
It's tough to feel like, this is a movie I'm jazzed to go see. Mm-hmm. When it doesn't feel like the studio itself is not that pumped. I mean, I know they can't love everything they do. I think every studio hopefully goes under the intention of making a great movie, and through a variety of circumstances, sometimes that works.
Maybe their advertising budget is not what they wanted, but that's fine. Yeah.
So, so we'll be doing our box office bet on Miss Bala shortly. But before we do that, we want to do a little box office rewind. Love it. Thank you.
Decent, yeah.
Where we look back at somebody that's going to be at their opening box office weekend totals, their top 5, for a film that's coming up this week. And, of course, this is Miss Bala. So I thought, hey, Anthony Mackie, let's call him up to bat. And we're going to be looking at not Anthony Mackie's top 5, which is all superhero films, as you can imagine. He's heavy in the MCU, Marvel Cinematic Universe. So we're going to look down at his 6 through 10 to see what his non-superhero films, what those are. So coming in there at number 5 for Anthony Mackie's 6 through 10 Yeah, non-superhero films there. Pain and Gain from Paramount back in 2013, directed by Michael Bay with The Rock, Mark Wahlberg.
I think that's one of the few I started and stopped. There's very few on my I'll come back to it later spectrum. I never not finish a movie. Always do.
I was more excited about that movie because, I mean, based on a true story.
Yeah.
And I was
just
like, all
couldn't
right.
get into it.
It was Michael Bay outside of, more like the...
Mm-hmm.
It was supposed to be kind of like a smaller thing like the Bad Boys or Transformers, so I was excited to see him work on a little bit smaller scale, but it just didn't quite land.
Yeah.
So that made 20.2 its opening weekend. Then number 4, Notorious from 2009 from Fox Searchlight, $20.4 million.
Don't think I saw that one.
Neither did I. Number 3, though, The Adjustment Bureau from Universal. Came out in 2011, $21.1 million.
I think I did.
That was great. Matt Damon, Emily Blunt. It's where the guys where you can go through those doorways if you wear the hat.
Yes. Yeah.
I enjoyed that
That
film.
was a good one.
I thought that was really good. Coming in number 2 is a film that I feel I just got a soft spot for. Real Steel, 2011.
That one was really cute.
Yeah, $27.3 million. That's and there's always been talk about doing a sequel for that film, and it's never really materialized. Although I don't know, it's not a film.
It doesn't need one.
Yeah, I mean, if they made one, I guess I would check it out for sure. But I've always been satisfied with the story as told.
Wrapped. Done.
Sean Levy showing a remarkable restraint because I know they talked about like there's this sequence where they leave the robot and it just holds on him, and they said if after a couple seconds, they held it a little longer in the original cut, and he kind of moved slightly. You're like, oh, wait, is he self-aware or not? But they took that out.
Oh.
I was like, yeah, thank you, Sean Levy. Yes. And coming at number 1 for Anthony Mackie's top 5 non-superhero box office opening weekends, this is Eagle Eye from Paramount and DreamWorks back in 2008, $29.1 million. That was one with Shia LaBeouf and...
I was like, nope, don't think I saw that one.
Michelle Monaghan.
No.
It's about, of course, this great new government software, kind of like the HAL of the government software.
I remember the ads, yeah.
Yes.
But did not see that one.
Goes wrong. Shia LaBeouf has a twin who's involved with the project and then gets killed, and then he's sent all this information, and he's the only one that can expose his government conspiracy. So there you go.
Because that's how it works out. You're the only one who can solve the problem.
The
whole
only
world.
one.
Save the world! Yes.
So, folks, we're ready. As I mentioned, we have our box office bet set up right now with Miss Bala. But before we do that, to round out our show, we're going to take a peek at what our next week's top 5 will look like.
Okay.
Adding Miss Bala into the mix, 2,000 screens. And we got Anthony Mackie, Gina Rodriguez.
I'm curious if the Jane the Virgin fans will, like, if that's the type of movie they're going to want to watch. Because they could really like her from the show, but I don't feel those are quite the same genre.
No,
but,
that's true.
you could want to see her in a different kind of role. So there's that, too.
Do you think, well, first off, before we even place it in a spot, do you think it'll crack the top 5? Given that...
If Spider-Verse is only at 6, it could maybe.
But it only had like an 18.8% drop, so it's not huge.
Yeah. Wow, Ken Jack, I like your optimism. Ken Jack says Miss Bala will be number 1.
For real, Ken Jack?
Said Miss Bala, then Glass for 2, 3 for Upside, 4 Aquaman, and 5 Spider-Verse.
Seriously? Holy cow! That's impressive. All right, I like that sense of optimism.
I don't think it'd be number 1, if only because the advertising has been pretty minimal. But it could be if she's promoting it, fans would maybe be more inclined, and that's a very popular show.
Is it
maybe number 5?
I mean,
maybe not as much now.
It's tough to say.
It's been on for a while.
Yeah, I mean, it's on the CW, so I mean, it may have a devoted fan base, but I just don't know how well that spreads out to the mainstream.
That's true. DC Patient says Glass, then Upside, Aquaman, Spider-Verse, and Bala. So
I can't disagree with that.
Keeping everything the same, and maybe it's number 5.
Yeah, I can't argue that. I feel
well, Ken Jack says only needs to make about 10 million for number 1.
Absolutely, you're absolutely
Touché.
right. That is correct. Yep. But I have a feeling this is, heck, it could be in Serenity category where it's. I mean, certainly bigger
like,
stars, but not much promotion, and it just kind of fades in at a little over $4 million.
I think that's probably where, because I think it will get in there, but it'll be 5. And I don't know if the kid who would be king would get more like traction later. It might not.
It doesn't.
I don't
seem
feel
like
it's like everybody's super excited and rushing people to go. It might be more like.
Yeah, I feel like people would be still more inclined, especially given the Academy Award nomination for Into the Spider-Verse, that he could still stick around a little bit longer. I think it's without that. If say the Academy Award nominations were still like a month off from now, I think you could see Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse kind of trickling out.
Yeah, it's gonna still hold on to there.
Yeah. So no, I agree. I could see it at 5, but that's.
I think so too. But now we get a bet on how much.
Yep, there you go.
How much number 5 it will make.
So, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to round out our show with our box office bet. As always.
Stardew. Sorry, Stardew says, so we'll vote in like the 4 to 7 ballpark range.
Yeah, there you go. We Kari and I and Amy, when she's here, when she deems us worthy to show up, we will bet on what we think the opening box office total will be. And then the winner gets to be basking in the glow of prognosticator or prognosticators. Much like myself, I'm just basking. I'm glowing right now.
Oh, well, Sky says same thing, but pull Spider-Verse and put the kid and then Miss Ball. Interesting. Yep.
And then the loser will have to go see this film, like Amy will be seeing the Kid Would Be King, and tell us all about it.
Neela J in the chat says, who knows? Gina Rodriguez was on several talk shows this week. Who knows? Good point. Fair. That's what I was thinking. I'm like, if she's promoting it well, maybe.
Yeah, but again, I don't. I mean, and CW shows. I certainly devoted fan bases, but I just don't know that translates to lots of seats in the theater.
Yeah. All right. So it needs to make maybe 6.
All right, so we've got. Let me just type.
I got
in
a
this.
weird number, but we'll see.
I like that there. Juliet, I know you're just joining us here for this week. Perhaps you'll be back next week. Would you like to partake in our box office bet?
Yeah, let's do it.
Oh, that's what I like to see.
Okay. I'll let you guys go first, though.
So you're betting for how much Miss Bala will make next weekend when it opens. In theaters.
It will make more than $1.
Gotta be a little more specific than that.
Okay.
All right. Let's see here.
True. Well, the other thing too, Wellington brings up a good point. Gina Rodriguez is getting some shit for her old Twitter account stuff. She's been, well, it wasn't on Twitter. She said something on a show, on an interview, and that was getting clamorings over. So I wonder if more people are aware or.
Well, this is gonna be a. You gotta run the margins on this one. This is gonna be as.
I have a I'm like
All right. Okay. I'll show you. I typed it right already in there.
And then Julia, if you want to say your top 5 of what you think would be what order in the box office.
I don't know. I think Miss Bala is going to surprise us. I think it really will. But I don't think it will be the hit of the year. Definitely not. I think, as you mentioned, she's having some issues with the media right now, past tweets, different interviews. She was actually crying on the radio a few days back. So I think that's going to play. But I also think that she has the support system in terms of her community, people who love the show. But who knows if that will translate or not. So I think my answer is a little vague, but hopefully that helps.
Sure.
Remind me the other movies?
We've got Glass.
Thank you.
The Upside, Aquaman, The Kid Who Would Be King, and Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse.
Eon001 says, oh, more juicy outrage. What did she say? It's been an ongoing thing with her, is pretty much not supporting Black community. Because it was an interview for Smallfoot, I think. And I think Zendaya was sitting next to her. Well, I think it was that. And then someone's interviewing and says something of like, this is great for, young Black girls to see a character like this, blah, blah. And Gina Rodriguez is like, it's great for women, of like discrediting race and just going for women. And in one aspect, you can think she didn't mean it in a malicious way, but it was not taken well at all. And even the interviewer's like, okay, because he was Black too. So it's like, So that's where it stemmed from it. Juliet was pulling up. And so then she got an interview going, no, that's not how I feel about it. And then she also is crying about it. And then she also, the other bigger thing is she goes, yeah, my father's dark, and gives his ethnic background. And then on Twitter, people are like, this is a picture of her father. He's not really that dark. If you're doing a spectrum of like, yeah. So there's a lot of levels to this, but it's getting her on social media news. Anyway, if y'all have seen that on Twitter, I'm on Twitter a lot, and I'm like, oh, what's in the trending tweets and stuff?
But Juliet, are you already making weekend plans to go see Miss Bala?
I don't think so.
See, that's what I feel like. Many people are going to feel the same way. They might like her on Jane the Virgin, but if they're not, I don't know if they're really going to run out to the theater to go see her.
Also, Neil S. points out in the chat, Gina said that Hispanic women in Hollywood make less money than African American women. So that was also, she got a lot of backlash from Black community. So let's pull up, Yusuf says, Twitter can be fun. Yes, it can be. So let's look at what some numbers the chat were saying, Juliet. This might help you out a little bit. We have Zeiss Belou says 5.5. Wellington says 6.3. I saw a couple other ones. DC Patient says, where'd it go? I thought you had a number there. 6.2. And any other people say numbers? Okay, cool.
Okay,
Yeah.
I think I'll round it out to like a 5.8.
All right,
Okay.
5.8. I like it. I like that.
Juliet, guess what?
What?
I said 5.8 as well.
Oh!
That's crazy.
That's crazy.
That's the one. Ding, ding, ding.
We're
There you
gelling
go.
there, yes.
I went 6.1.
Okay. Oh, wow. Very tight.
Ooh,
Yes.
very tight.
Rugged English says 4.7. We'll have to check, text Amy and be like, Amy, what's your number?
Yeah. Oh.
And then you got to write it down.
So everybody go see Miss Bala, please. I beg you. I beg you, please. Go see this movie.
Oh, boy.
Ladies and gentlemen, that's going to do it for this episode of Box Office Breakdown. Juliet, you're filled with regret now. Admit it.
Yeah, I am.
I knew it. Thanks for joining us, folks. As always, like us on Facebook, give us 5 stars on iTunes, subscribe to the YouTube channel, give it a thumbs up, or 2 or 3 or 4, however many you can fit there. And thanks everybody for hopping in the chat, sharing your thoughts and commentary. But if you're watching after we stream live, Kari, what can they do?
Yes, Frank, you can all comment down below. And back to our other question, what makes a twist in a movie good? Please do not specify a movie because then that kind of spoils what the twist is. But yeah, you can talk about that.
Look at that. And if you want to follow any of us, even after the show's over, Juliet, where can they find you?
Oh, thank you guys. You can follow me on Instagram at Bonjour Juliet.
Oh, c'est magnifique. I'm like,
Bravo.
I was like, that's about as not many French words in my vocab. Anyway, my name is Kari Lane. You can find me online at Kari D Lane. That's KARIDLANE. And go check out AfterBuzz Anime Reviews. We're on the AfterBuzz channel under animation. We're talking about Soul Eater. It's finally gotten really good. I wasn't loving season 1, but season 2 it started off really strong.
Fantastic. And make sure everybody check out Amy Cassandra Martinez's.
wait, MT. What is her? Is that backwards?
Oh,
Z?
nailed it. Great.
She can be found on Twitter at Amy Cassandra MTZ.
Yeah,
That's right.
her.
Yes. Follow her there on social media.
Well, she does a thing.
It's a hand gesture. It's
Yeah.
all great. Kari really got it down pat. But she's at the SAG Awards. Follow her adventures there. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at HappyGoJackie. We'll be back next week. Super Bowl week, everybody.
What?
Holy cow, with an all-new episode of Box Office Breakdown right here on Popcorn Talk. Go see some movies, especially Miss Bala. Please, go see it.
From producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire Popcorn Talk Network, we would like to thank you for tuning in. For questions or comments, be sure to visit popcorntalk.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of the Popcorn Talk Network. The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of the Popcorn Talk Network or its owners or principals.